Hey guys, it's Ollie from Rad Season. I'm stoked to be joined today by the Managing Director of Extreme Destinations, Ben Barker. Ben, thanks for coming on the show.
No worries. Nice to be on the show, Ollie, and thanks for having me.
No problem. And whereabouts are you at the moment, Ben? You're over in the Seychelles, is that right?
Yeah, I'm over in the Seychelles. We've been here. I actually live here. I'm very fortunate to live here. I spent close to 20 years in the Middle East and met my wife over there, and had a few kids. And it was a choice of do we move to the UK, do we stay in Dubai, or do we move down to the Seychelles where she's from? And yeah, it was a very easy decision to move down here. So we made the move about 5 years ago, and yeah, it's been bliss ever since. So apologies for the sweat. It's pretty hot here. I know in the UK it's -2, -3 degrees at the moment. We've got 30 degrees and tropical temperatures. So I'm not complaining.
And what's it been like this year with everything, with everything going on with the pandemic?
Yeah, Seychelles, we've been really fortunate, and I mean it's been up and down. We've been really fortunate in terms of the number of people who have been infected here has been minimal. I think in total we've had about 180, 185 cases, recorded cases in total since March, or since they started recording the stats. And probably about 95% of those have been people traveling back into the country, or tourists coming from Dubai or other parts of the world, bringing it in, and then going straight into quarantine. So we've been extremely lucky in that regards. I think probably in December, January, February time, we all went through the whole herd immunity. I mean, there's a load of people who got very sick at that time, but COVID wasn't really headline news or really in the papers. So there's not really too much known about it. So I think with a population of 95,000, getting herd immunity quite quickly is not difficult. But on the flip side to that, tourism's been affected really badly. Obviously with other countries going into lockdown and tourism being one of our main economic drivers, the lack of tourists and tourism industry has really suffered. So it's been pretty catastrophic on that regard as well, though.
Yeah, I know, and yeah, hopefully, once sort of later this year, start of next year, things will start opening up again.
I mean, they open up the country back in September, and we've had a handful of tourists coming through, but nothing like the numbers which we normally get at the same time of the year.
Yeah.
On the flip side, it's good for us residents who get good rates with local hotels and empty beaches. So I won't complain on that one.
I guess I'd love to take it back to where you got into traveling. I mean, you've been growing up in multiple places around the world, and where did that all begin for you?
Yeah, I've been traveling since I was about 6 months old. So my parents. I was born in the UK. My parents moved to the Middle East, so we lived in Oman for 3 years, and then Bahrain for 3 years, and then the Far East. I grew up in the Far East. Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Singapore until I was in my late teens. So I've had the travel bug literally since day one. So no, it's in my blood, and I really got into adventure travel probably from the age of about 12, 13, when I started going on boys trips with my father, and we used to go hiking through Indonesia and Malaysia, through the rainforests, climbing up volcanoes and doing all sorts of wonderful adventures from a very, very young age. So it's been instilled in me and as a passion and a hobby from a very, very early time.
That's cool. And was it just the two of you? Would he just take you off then? And
I mean, I went to school in the UK, so during holidays I'd fly back to Singapore or Hong Kong or wherever it would be, and it's just an opportunity and a time to do some male bonding and get to know each other a little bit better, because obviously boarding school, you're away for 3 months at a time. And it's a really good opportunity for us to get out and enjoy the outdoors and nature and everything which the Far East had to offer.
And was your dad, was he pretty into adventure? And
I think
as well, so sort of hiking.
I think probably not from not directly, but I think just by the very nature of us going out and experiencing it ourselves, it definitely got him more involved in it and more active in it. And he's in his mid 70s, and he still goes off. He lives in Georgia now, and he goes off hiking every weekend and keeping fit. So mentally and physically, it's good for him as well.
Yeah, that's great.
And yes,
after
that I'm talking about him.
So after boarding school, so you finished when you were 18. What did you do after that? I mean, like, did you do a gap year, or did you did you go straight to university?
So after school, I was living in Singapore at the time. I spent a few months in Singapore working there, and then a friend of mine and myself, we traveled through Indonesia and Australia for another 3 months. And that was amazing fun. Just again, this was back in, when was it, in the mid 90s, so no mobile phones, no real internet. You literally could just go traveling, and there's no communication with the real world. We're bungee jumping and diving, calling up my parents after I'd done bungee jumps and all these wild, wonderful adventures, and I didn't give them a heart attack saying I'm just about to go and do this. I said I've just done this, and they're pretty cool with that. But no, it was an amazing experience, and I think anybody who is listening and just about to go to university after school, highly recommend doing a gap year. Wherever you are, whatever you do, just get out and explore the world. It's certainly helped shape who I am today, I think.
Yeah, and did you was that like a solo thing, or you went with a group of friends, and then you sort of like when you're traveling, you just meet people along the way, right? And you do these sort of things.
No, exactly. I mean, it was a really good friend of mine and myself. We just we literally had a flight ticket from Singapore to Bali, and no other ticket, and literally just said, right, where are we going to go? We had an aim of getting to Sydney by X date and hoofing it back to Singapore. And it was just a great opportunity to go and explore with no set itinerary and no agenda, and meet people along the way, catch up with people, get good advice of where to travel, what to do as you get to a certain point, and you make really good friends whilst you're doing that as well. And I think if you stay on the beaten track, it all becomes too much same. But if you go to a location and then find this hidden trail and go and do that for a couple of days, it's really quite cool. One thing actually, I watched the Italian. I'm not a football fan at all, but we watched the Italian Football World Cup, whatever year that was, in the backyard of an old fishing village in Indonesia, which was quite an experience. Anyway,
that's awesome. And when you were doing that trip, was that when you decided that you wanted to study tourism at university, or?
No, no, it was way before. I had a mission and a vision very early on. I was probably about 14 or 15, and again, it was one of these trips with my dad, and we went up to an island in Malaysia, on the east coast of Malaysia, called Pulau Dayang, and it was such a really, just an old Malaysian fishing boat. We chugged it out to this island and fished for about 3 or 4 days, and on the way back, my father turned around and said to me, "So what do you want to do when you're older?" And I said, "I want to design, build, and run my own resort." And literally from that point on, it's been my mission to do it. And hopefully I'm getting there. Haven't finished yet.
And yeah, so and then you went. So when you went back, you were studying in over in the UK in Sheffield, and were you traveling that time as well, when like between university and sort of
I did a hotel, an international hotel and tourism course at Sheffield Hallam University, and that was a 4-year course. And in the 3rd year, you did a year's placement. So I did 6 months in Tokyo and 6 months in South Carolina, in 2 very different hotels. So it was I looked at it as an experience or an opportunity to go and experience 2 very different cultures and climates. And a lot of people on my course, they stayed in their hometown. They went and worked in the local pub or the local hotel, and didn't really experience what the world had to offer. But no, I went to Japan. Couldn't speak a word of Japanese. Learned Japanese in 6 months, and I taught everybody in the hotel I was at English in that time as well. And no, it was an incredible experience.
That's cool. And then after that, so what was your first job in travel after leaving university?
Yeah, so I left university. I then went to work for a small travel company specializing in tailor-made trips to the Far East. Obviously, living in the Far East and growing up in the Far East, I had a pretty good understanding of the place. So I did that for 2 or 3 years. And then I decided to do I wanted to take a sabbatical and go paddling around the South Pacific for a year, but my boss wouldn't let me at the time, for obvious reason. So I ended up running a dive lodge in just north of Zanzibar on an island called Pemba for a couple of years. So that was a good substitute for paddling around the Pacific.
And how was that?
Oh, it's amazing.
I saw that.
It was amazing. Yeah, no, it was again, it was an incredible experience. Just, you know, when you're on an island with next to no tourism infrastructure or facilities, running a dive lodge where you've got, you know, obviously running a high risk activity and sport. You know, it came with a huge amount of responsibility, but the diving there was incredible. I mean, some of the best diving in the world. I mean, rivals, you know, the Red Sea and Raja Ampat, and you got on a good day you had 40-50 meter visibility, you had pelagics, you had the small stuff, and there was no crowds. I mean, literally nobody was diving there, and we're just discovering dive sites, and it was just amazing. And again, it was before the time of GoPros and you know, affordable underwater cameras, so I have no record of it. It's all in my head. But no, it was a challenging experience, and again, I think the lessons I learned from that have really helped me, you know, from that 2 year period, really helped me form the person who I am today. I mean, we had a coup, we had car bombs going off the road 50 meters up the road, and we had military shoot-offs going on in the valley below us, and you know, as a 25-year-old, it was a pretty interesting experience.
Wow. And then, I mean, like, did that just sort of spark something, knowing that you could sort of do that and you know, be in this sort of semi-unstable situation, that you thought, okay, well, you know, like,
yeah, I think if you can
I can go and do anything now, right? I can go and travel and, you know, work anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can survive and thrive in that environment, I think there's no challenge is too small. But no, you know, certainly doing that, it kind of got that wanderlust, you know, go and be a beach bum situation away from me. I did that island adventure, which, you know, I'd always wanted to do since I left university. So I think, you know, getting that out of my system and then getting into the real world and the corporate world, I then went from there to Dubai. Started working for a big travel company over there, okay. And then got into destination development with another company. I don't know how many years ago. That was probably 18 years ago. So yeah, ending up doing what I'm doing now is just pure chance, really. But again, going back to my dream of my goal of designing, building, and running my own beach resorts. Just you're following the right pathway, should we say? Yeah.
And what was the decision? I mean, between sort of working in all these different places, were you sort of looking more at the career, or was it something that you thought, okay, like you were getting a bit itchy and you wanted to change where you were, or what happened?
No, I've never really been one for looking at my career and looking at my CV and making sure my CV looked good. It was really just, I think, you know, people's personalities and mindsets change as they go through various stages of their lives. You know, priorities change. You end up, you know, with a family, with kids. You may be single. You may have different dreams and aspirations. And I think you just got to have a bit of flexibility in your outlook and what you want to do. And you know, situations around the world may change. I mean, look at what we're going through right now with COVID, and you know, priorities may change as you go through life. So I've never really been a career-minded person, but more, you know, what makes you tick, what makes you happy at that time in your life, and that's pretty much what's driven me and my focus.
Nice. And now you're working with Extreme International. You've been there for a couple of years now, is that right?
Yeah, it's been, I don't know actually. I think it's about two and a half years. I think. Okay. But so I'm the managing director for Extreme Destinations. Met Alistair Gosling, who you did a podcast with a couple of months ago or 6 weeks ago, and obviously don't need to do too much introduction into Extreme, but there was an opportunity to develop the destination side of the business out, and he asked me to come on board and work alongside him to look at building that from the ground up. So. No, it's been a really exciting period, and you know, just an amazing two and a half years of seeing a global brand like Extreme and transferring the knowledge and skill set which I've had over the last 15 years combining that with this global brand and the doors which are opening and the opportunities which are presenting itself, both personally and professionally, is just remarkable. Really, really, really good fun and very challenging, very, very busy. I mean, we are, I'll get into it in a minute, but we are incredibly busy at the moment with project and work going on at the moment. But no, it's been a lot of fun.
That's great. Yeah, I'd love to jump into, I guess how Extreme Destinations is split up. I mean, like from my understanding, there's 3 sort of main areas, and yeah, how does it work?
Yeah, so there's 3 main areas. We look at the first one is indoor and outdoor adventure parks. So these are generally either, obviously, as the name suggests, indoor. They're indoor enclosed spaces. They could be standalone or part of shopping malls or other master plan destinations. But what I like to try and think of is bringing the outdoors indoors. So looking at all the amazing adventure and extreme sports which are out there. I mean, there's over 100, excuse the birds tweeting in the background, tropical birds. There's over 100 extreme and adventure sports. So not all of them can be developed and created as a man-made experience or sport, but quite a few of them can. So it's very different to your FECs or your active entertainment destinations. It's very sport focused, very experiential focused. So trying to engage the public in terms of learning a new skill, getting better at it, obviously having a huge amount of fun at the same time. So yeah, I mean, that's essentially what we're looking at doing from an indoor perspective, and then also very similar to an outdoor perspective as well. And I think, in terms of the active elements of having fun, we use the term health by stealth. So you're getting fit, you're getting active whilst having fun. But I think the important thing to get across in terms of these indoor and outdoor destinations is, even though the name of the company is Extreme, we're not focusing on elite athletes. We're looking at the entire market. So we're looking at engaging kids from 3 years old and taking them all the way through the various stages of development, all the way through to professional elite athletes as well. And I think that's really, really important as well in terms of what the environment today is presenting to us. I've got 3 kids. They're probably all on their iPads and iPods and computers right now. But it's trying to get them away from technology and involved and doing something active, doing something mentally and physically stimulating, not just being told and forced to go and play football because it's part of the school curriculum or something like that. It's that want and desire to go and participate in these experiences and have fun at the same time.
Yeah, and that's sort of opening up to like all different types of activities, like you were saying, right? So it's not just, if they're interested in maybe going climbing or mountain biking or doing different water sports, then it's kind of these facilities kind of open up.
It's interesting because we're not inventing something new. I mean, you've had indoor climbing centers and outdoor climbing centers. You've got wake parks, you've got trampoline parks, you've got all of these destinations and developments already taking place all over the world. But where we're trying to be a little bit different is combining multiple activities and experiences into one destination. Some destinations, they have trampolining, they have climbing, they have Ninja Warrior. So they do exist. But I think the incredible point of difference where we are is we've obviously got, with the other 2 business channels from Extreme with media and marketing and events, we have the brand, we have the reach, we have the ability to bring in elite athletes and showcase those elite athletes through our events, through our media channels. So the combination of all 3 elements, all 3 business units combined into one is really something quite spectacular and probably quite unique as well in our competitive space.
Yeah, nice.
So
yeah, what are these projects that you guys have been working on at the moment then? I mean, there's a lot going on in the Middle East.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll touch on the other 2 as well. So obviously we've got indoor and outdoor destinations. The other one, the second one is accommodation. So okay. we're again, this is something relatively new in terms of the development phase. Again, it's something which I've been trying to look at incorporating for quite a few years, but with the onset of COVID, it kind of fast-tracked the opportunity to develop it out. But we call it Extreme Collection, and it's really taking the adventure experiences first and then bringing in the accommodation element as a second afterthought. So look at locations around the world, looking at locations within certain regions where they're topographically rich. So it could be up in the mountains, it could be in the desert, it could be on the islands, it could be on the beaches. But looking at pods and lodges, tents, tree houses, looking at accommodation which is really sustainable. Sustainable in terms of environment, sustainable in terms of the community, and also commercially. So we're looking at really driving the experience, as I said, driving the experience first. So finding locations where, you know, it's amazing mountain biking or amazing hiking and climbing, fantastic windsurfing, kite surfing, whatever it may be, and then looking at dropping in those lodges and pods strategically within those locations. And got helicopters flying overhead now as well, so I don't know if you can pick this up. I've got an outdoor office. So part of the experience as well is not just staying at that location, it's also getting to those locations as well. And we know, you know, with adventure travel and adventure tourism, we'll probably touch on that in a little while as well. You know, part of the journey or part of the adventure is getting to these locations as well. And you know, especially when you talk about adventure, people want to have an adventure as part of their trip, not making it impossible, but certainly, you know, making it challenging, making it fun, making it unique and authentic. So that's part of what we're trying to achieve as well. And then the third part is our consultancy role or consultancy business. And again, this is what's been keeping us really, really busy over the last 6-7 months during COVID, because obviously with lack of travel, we can't actually get into these locations and start developing out sites specifically just yet. But we're heavily involved in Saudi Arabia at the moment, with regards to a number of the ministries, a number of the authorities, PIF as well, the Public Investment Fund. Saudi is an incredible destination. Not only is it topographically probably one of the most diverse and unexplored and rich locations in the world, but with the Vision 2030 and the goals of the government there to drive both domestic and international tourism, the opportunities are just incredible. And there's so many projects. You've got all the giga projects, and you've got lots of smaller projects as well, which are starting to go through that strategic planning phase. So we're involved with a lot of the management consulting firms in the early stages of those projects as the adventure and extreme sports specialists. So it's been keeping us busy. 6 months ago, I had lots of hair.
And that's sort of looking at the destination as a whole, right? And then sort of figuring out where these activities are going to play within the projects and within the developments that they're working on.
Yeah, it's a combination of the work we're doing with some of the authorities is looking at the whole country and working out what experiences can be incorporated into what locations. What's the infrastructure requirements? What are the asset product requirements needed to be incorporated into those areas? But then also looking at the specific projects. There may be they're very site specific or location specific, and then it's working with the consortium of other specialists within hospitality, tourism, infrastructure, et cetera, and working with them, identifying what can be incorporated into those master plan developments as a whole, looking at the market, looking at the demographics, what are the dynamics, what are the requirements, what are the commercial vision and goals of the clients of the location, and then basically developing a project which is completely cohesive and integrated with all the tourism, hospitality elements and the real estate elements as well. So it's extremely interesting. We're meeting a huge amount of very interesting consultants from loads of different fields who've got some very wacky and cool ideas as well, which we can then bring on board and utilize in our own projects too.
That's great, and then that sort of then brings in all the different elements, I guess, of extreme. So then kind of looks at events, looks at the media side, looks at the athletes, and from like. Is it true that so with adventure travel, that's like one of the biggest or fastest growing segments within tourism at the moment?
Yeah, and we're really driving that element with government, the government agendas. And it's not just Saudi. There's so many governments around the world who we're in conversations with at the moment, and they've all identified that adventure is the key element which they want to incorporate within their tourism drive. And obviously, with the whole with COVID and the lack of tourism within across the whole world, adventure travel or adventure travelers are going to be the first movers once borders and once restrictions really lift up. Primarily because they've got a adversity to danger and risk, and they're not 100% risk takers, but their mindset is very much, we just want to go traveling, we want to go and explore the world. So the desire and the passion to go and travel, they're going to be the first movers. By the very nature of the older generation, they're going to find it very hard to get traveling straight away. So it's the younger generation, it's the guys fresh out, or the guys and girls fresh out of school and university, and the younger adults and the younger families who are able to get out and about. But certainly before COVID, adventure travel was the fastest growing travel segment. Well, it's not, as you said, it's not the biggest, but it's definitely the fastest. And yes, we're certainly we're certainly aligning ourselves with the. You go.
And then with like exactly what you're saying. I mean, with COVID just speeding, I guess like speeding up the whole sort of outdoor movement. I mean, now there's just way more people getting out and trying to sort of watch their distance and get out into nature, and it sort of looks at that whole
No, definitely, and that's something with Extreme Collection. So our accommodation part of the business, that's the key driver. People want to get out and about. They want to go and explore. They still want to explore. They still want to travel, but they want to get out into nature. They want to go and see the big open expanse spaces. They want to get up into those amazing wow vistas on top of a hill, or on top of a mountain, or they want to go hiking through the rainforests and the jungles. And they want to travel. They want to travel with friends. They want to travel. They want to get back and engage with their families. They don't want to stay in concrete buildings. They don't want to go and stay in 12-story high buildings and packed in as sardines in hotels. So they want to get out. They want to go and stay in glamping style accommodation. That's certainly the trend, and it's very much. That's a trend both from a domestic tourism point of view and also from an international point of view. And we're having lots of conversations with city councils within the UK where they're really trying to drive that element of hospitality as well. And again, all the way through the world, within Saudi, within the Middle East, across Europe, across the US, North and South America. This is what everybody's turning to. So we're very fortunate to be in the position and what we do to thrive off the back of what is essentially this pretty disastrous period in our lives.
And would you say there's any kind of particular regions of the world that are, looking to do this immediately, so to speak, or is it? Would you say like most countries are kind of opening up to it, obviously depending on what it is that they have geographically to offer?
Yeah, I think the countries which are opening up immediately to do this are the ones which have a very strong domestic tourism base already, or a very large population where travelers they don't have to fly, they can drive to their holiday destination. So you're looking at Canada, Australia, the US, and within Europe as well. So where you can cross over borders. That's certainly part of the play as well. But then it really, like the situation with the Seychelles, we haven't really suffered too badly in terms of the pandemic or the virus hitting us too badly, but we have suffered because other countries, they've closed their borders, they're restricting travel. So it's very hard to. We've only got a population of 95,000, and not everybody's going to. We're by the very nature, we're having to do domestic tourism. We're traveling locally, so it's happening all over the world. But certainly destinations where they are being where people are being forced to drive, the first movers of looking at this style of development.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting. And what I mean, getting into this industry, and with you starting out in travel, like what advice would you give to someone that would be looking to do this? Like whether they're on their gap year traveling around the world, or coming out of uni.
Probably not the best advice, but probably follow your heart. Just do what you feel is right at the time. Again, like I said earlier on, it's you need your time, your life changes at certain times of your goals change at certain times of your life. I think have an ultimate goal, have an ultimate vision of what you want to achieve, but just have that flexibility of moving with the flow, going with the flow, following your heart. You want to go and spend a gap year, or you want to go and work on a horse ranch in the Midwest. If that's what you want to do, go and do it. Life is too short. I think one of the key things for me is, life is too short. You've got one shot at this life, and do what makes you happy. Do what makes you tick. Do the fun stuff out there, and the rest will follow.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, when you're 65, 70 years old and you're retired, your body won't be able to go paddleboard. Well, I mean, it should be able to if you keep fit and healthy and active. But certainly the when you're older and you're retired and you have got that time on your hands, you're restricted in terms of what you are really physically able to do. So I think the main advice is do follow your dreams, follow your heart, have an ultimate goal, but be flexible and go with the flow.
Yeah, nice. And I mean, now with all the projects and all the destinations that you're working on, I mean, where do you see the adventure market going from here? I mean, is it just going to continue? I think continue to grow, and hopefully, within a sustainable way that,
you just said the key word there. It is absolutely going to continue to grow. It's only going to get bigger and bigger. And over the last 20, 30 years, the trends and the insights, not just within extreme sports, but adventure sports, and they are getting more and more relevant in today's society and more acceptable in today's society. And I think with are you there?
Yeah. Hello.
Oh, I've lost you. I've lost my screen. How do I get you back? Hold on. There you are. You dropped out. So yeah, I think. Sorry about that, guys. I think with what we're going through with COVID, it's only gonna improve. And I think probably one of the most interesting statistics to come out of this. I haven't got the actual facts and figures of it, but one of the really interesting insights is during COVID. And I think Alison may have commented on this on the last one. The purchase or the sales of adventure and extreme sports equipment has never been as big as it has been during COVID, because everybody's obviously been locked at home. They haven't been able to do anything. They've been given the opportunity to go out and exercise. You can't go to gyms, or at certain locations around the world, you couldn't go to gyms. So people are buying mountain bikes, they're buying skateboards, they're buying scooters, they're buying hiking equipment, because that was what they're allowed to do. And again, getting out into the outdoors, that was all they're able to do. So the sale of adventure equipment has just skyrocketed. And we've been on a number of conferences, and everybody is talking about adventure tourism being the one which is just going to keep going up and up and up steadily. And again, that's backed up by all the government agendas around the world of their core focus of looking at adventure tourism and adventure travel as a key player in their market.
Nice. And speaking about the equipment, I can see some paddle boards and some toys behind you. What are you most like doing? I mean, do you just like in regards to water sports? Are you sort of open to
anything? Yeah, anything. I mean, I was diving. I was scuba diving as early as I could possibly scuba dive. I think back then it was the age of 16. I've always been a water sports baby. So paddling, surfing. My son's 9 years old. He surfs. Was trying to surf. He knows more. He can talk all that. He watches the YouTube channels all the time, and that's all he ever talks about. Surf skiing, free diving, Seychelles is a great location to be based because you've got the most incredible water and landscape as well, and some world-class hiking and trail running, and anything to keep me active. I'll try anything as long as my body will hold up to it. I'll probably my wife probably wouldn't let me base jump. I'll have to draw the line on that one.
Good stuff. And what's the best way of people to follow what you're up to, and to keep in contact with what Extreme are doing? Yeah,
I think obviously through the website, through our social media channels, with Instagram and Facebook. Our tag is Unreal. Through LinkedIn, we're extremely active. For the business viewers out there, we're extremely active on LinkedIn. We've all got our profiles on LinkedIn, and we can all be reached that way. And if anybody's got any interesting projects which we can get involved in, we'd love to hear from you.
Awesome. Cool. Well, yeah, thanks for your time, Ben. It's been really, really good chatting to you. And yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye on, what you guys are working on. And yeah, definitely exciting to see all the destinations and projects that Extreme are a part of.
Perfect. Is that a didgeridoo in your background? I can see.
It is an organ pipe from Germany, from Dresden, where my wife's from. It was a wedding present, I think. It's sort of, yeah.
But
there's some random things in there.
Yeah. I've got a didgeridoo. I can only play it. It's good. It's a good showpiece on the side.
Yeah. Can you play it? I lived in Australia for 7 years. I don't know. I think I gave it a go once or twice, but never could.
Yeah, I can play it for about 35 seconds, and then I run out of breath.
All good. Cool, Ben. Well, it's been I'm really good chatting, and we'll definitely keep in touch.
Yeah, wonderful. Thanks for your time, Ollie, and thanks for everybody listening in. And have fun. Get out and do some adventures.
Cheers.
Cool. Cheers, Ollie.